So hey everyone, welcome back, and I hope you guys are doing well. So today we are going to solve another LeetCode Weekly Contest, and this one is going to be 486. And sorry for the late because I'm having some issue with my network connection today, and also some construction work is going on in the background. So sorry for that noise as well. So without wasting time, let's get started. So let's start with the first question. Let's see what the first question is. Right. So minimum difference between highest and the lowest score, lowest of k scores. Okay, let's understand the problem. It's an easy problem, and I think today lead code contests are really easy, not that much difficult as compared to the as compared to other contests, right? And it's really good for the beginner who those are just starting to build a confidence, right? So let's understand the question. So you are given a zero index integer array nums, where nums I represent the score of the ith student. You are also given an integer k. Pick the score of any k students from the array. That's the difference between the highest and the lowest score of k score is minimized. Okay, return the minimum possible difference. Okay, let's see the example. Let's see the second example that make more sense, right? So what the problem is asking us to do, we have given an array, right, and we have given a value as k. We have to choose k student scores, and from there we have to find the difference between the minimum and the maximum element. Let's see it for the better understanding. Let's come it over here. Okay. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to choose k scores, and from there, let's say in this case I choose two scores value of the students, because you know the ith values represent the score of the ith student, right? If I choose 9 and 4, so these are the two scores of the values of the students. So and what I have to do, I have to return the minimum value, where the minimum, how we are going to calculate the minimum value. We're calculating the minimum value with the help of the uh, highest score minus the lowest score from the chosen scores, right? From the scores which we have chosen, right? So this is a particular formula which we are going to use. So this is quite easy, and how to actually think about this problem, right? So if you see what we have to do, we have to minimize the difference, right? So it doesn't make more sense if you subtract the lowest value with the maximum value. What I'm saying is, it doesn't make sense if you subtract 1 from 9, right? Like you can understand it as absolute, right? So it gives you a 8, right? So it doesn't make any sense to choose the minimum and the maximum value in the first hand. That will actually gives you like a bigger result, right? So we are not going to pick that one. So what is the better way to actually do it, right? So if I say, if I sort an array, right? Let's say if I sort an array, then my array become like this, right? So my current array situation is like this. I cannot pick the highest and the lowest element from the whole array, because that's not going to help me in this particular case, right? So what I can do, I have to, every time what I have to do, I have to choose exactly two scores, right? I have to choose two scores, and from there I have to find the highest and the lowest, and then calculate the difference, right? So this is the thing which I have to achieve. So if you think, what is the best way to actually achieve this, it doesn't make, we already see that if we choose 1 and 9, so that is not going to give us a better answer. So what is the another approach? If you see, if we take consecutive elements, that is more beneficial than choosing the minimum, the maximum from the whole array, right? So it is better to choose the consecutive elements and then choose the first and the last. That will actually gives us the minimum result, right? In this case, if you see, the value of k is 2. So first we choose 1 and 4. We calculated their difference. What the difference is, 4 minus 1, which is actually coming as 3. So the difference is 3, right? In second case, if we select 4 and 7, 4 and 7, then what's the difference is, the difference is again 3, right? Because we have chosen two scores. And what if we choose 7 and 9? You see, the difference become 2, right? And this is the best answer, best possible answer which we can form, right? So this is the actually approach. It is not that much difficult. It is just, you have to see how the things are going. You just have to pick the consecutive elements, because that will gives you the minimum result, right? A minimum difference, and that is what actually we have to achieve, right? So let's see the code is pretty simple, nothing complicated. The only thing which I had did is I have just sorted an array, so that we can easily like pick the consecutive element. And after that, what I am doing is every time I'm forming a window, you can say window or not a window particularly, I'm picking in like in the forming a k size array, and from there first and last element I'm choosing, because they ask us to choose the lowest and the highest element, right? So what, and I'm running a loop, and how many time I'm running the loop, because I'm just every time I'm just taking a k size array, right? So I'm running this for the n minus k plus 1th time, that is the valid case, and after that I'm just calculating the difference, like, and from the last and the first element, and with this I'm just every time I'm calculating the minimum value, because that what we have to actually return, right? So this is the code, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Talking about the time complexity, so it is O of n log n, because we have sorted an array, and another is O of n minus k, which is negligible, you can say. So it is overall the time complexity is O of n log n. Talking about the space complexity, so we haven't take anything, so it's O of 1. So this is the first problem, and I think it's really pretty easy. As a beginner, if you face difficulty, but I don't think you also face, you can easily solve it after sorting the array. So this is it. Let's move to the another question. The second question is rotate non-negative elements. So this is also a pretty good problem, right? It will actually help you to understand two little concepts which are actually really important, right? So let's understand the problem. You are given an integer array nums and integer k. Rotate only the non-negative elements of the array to the left by k position in cyclic manner. Okay, all negative element must stay in their original position and must not move. Okay, after rotation, please place the non-negative elements back into the array in the new order, filling only the position that originally contained non-negative values and skipping all negative values. Okay, pretty straightforward, easy to, like, it is easy to understand. Let's see this example and what they are asking us to. What we have to do first, we have to pick the non-negative, you can say positive elements, and rotate left k times, right? Once we're done with this, then we just have whatever the array or whatever the result we got, we just have to replace those elements with the elements of the positive, with the positive elements positions, right? So this is the question, which the question is pretty straightforward. They're just asking us to pick the positive elements, perform the rotation, and after that just replace the element in the same order in which the positive elements are appeared. You are not allowed to change the order, you have to just place the element that you get after rotation, right? So this is the question which we are asking. Let's see how the example is working. Let's see, our positive elements are 1 and 3, right? So we have to rotate it 3 times, left rotation, right, in cyclic manner. So if put it down, if I do it, let me just copy it. If I rotate it 1 time, then my array become like this, right? And if you see, I think that make a little, right? When I rotate it for the 1 time, the array become 3 1. Then I again rotate it, then my array again become 1 3. But when I again rotate it, it become 3 1, right? So my final arrays become 3 1, right? And what I have to do, I just have to simply rotate over the array, and whenever I get a positive elements, I just use the sequence 3 1 to actually replace those elements. So my new array become 3 minus 2 1 and minus 4. This is the answer which I got, and I just have to return this. So problem is pretty straightforward. You don't have to think a lot. The only thing is here is to actually we are using two different things. First important, like one important thing, to actually how to actually rotate and how to work when we are actually dealing with rotation, right? Either it would be left rotation or it would be a right rotation, right? So one more thing is, right, let's say the value of k is 3. What if for example, let's say the elements are 1 2 3 4, we are just considering all the positive elements, right? And let's say the value of k is 2, then what's the array look like? The condition of arrays look like is 3. If you rotate it like 3 4 and it's going to be 1 2, right? So 3 4 3 4 1 2, right? Because we have to rotate it for the 2 times. But what if we have to rotate it for the 4 times? Then if you see, then this rotation come after 2 times, and if I rotate it one more time, then my array become 4 1 2 and 3. If I rotate it one more time, then array become 1 2 3 4. You see, we came at the initial state, right? So we don't have to do these things for repetitively, because if if you see, the value of k is equal to the value of an array size, right? That means if we rotate it for the k times, then we came to our initial state. So instead of calculating that particular thing, we can solve we can reduce this particular calculation, right? And how we can do it? We just simply, what we have to do, we calculate it k mod by n. That will gives us the number of rotation which actually required, right? For example, if the value of k is let's say 2, and the value of n is 4, then what the number of rotation we require? Then the value of k become 2 mod 4, which is 2, right? Which means we have to perform the operation 2 number of times, right? And what if the value of k and n is equal? Like if k is 4 and n is also 4, then if you see, then value of k is going to be 0, which means we don't have to perform any number of operation, right? So this is for the small cases. What if the value of k is too large? So instead of repeating those again and again, we can solve and we can reduce the number of operation, right? So this is the one important thing which is actually important in this particular problem, right? And apart from that, how to actually rotate it, right? So if you see, our array is like this. If I just take this one, right? So my array elements is like this, and I have to rotate it for the 2 times. So how can I rotate it? One brute force way is to, every time I just pick the first element, create a new array, put that element in the back, then take every element at the front. Repeat this process for the k times. But you think it's not that you can say it is not that much efficient, and it's just unnecessary operation which we are doing. So instead of doing it, I have a better solution for you. How can we approach it? Let's see. You just have to know one important concept, which is called swapping of 2 numbers. That will actually help you to solve this. So what we can do, we have to rotate it for the 2 times, right? So I just write it over with indices 0 1 2 3, right? So these are the indices of the elements, right? So you just have to if you know how to write the swap function, just write a swap function where you are passing 2 things, right? I know how to swap 2 values in the array, and how to reverse an array. I am reversing an array from that particular portion where I to j, right? What I have to do, just pick from 0 to k minus 1 element, from 0 to k minus 1th element, right? Rotate this one, then my array become 2 1 3 4, right? This is the current condition of my array. In second step, what I have to do, I just have to rotate from k to n minus 1, right? Then the second state, what my arrays look like, 2 1 4 3, right? So this is the current state, and in the last, what we have to do, we just have to we just have to reverse the whole array, right? So this is what we have to achieve over here. So after doing this, what the array is look like, 3 4 1 2. So this is the condition of our sorry for that. So this is the condition of an array, and if you see, when we rotated it for the 2 times, where is the array? Where it is? Yeah, if you rotate it for the 2 times, then the current condition of the array becomes 3 4 2. So if you see, we are easily able to get it in just 3 number of operation. We don't actually require a lot of operations, and we came at this particular position, right? So this is the approach which we are going to use over here. Is the only thing you have to understand is how to actually swap and how to actually reverse your array for a particular portion, right? So let's see the code. Code is pretty straightforward. Exact same thing which I have discussed in the problem description, in the problem explanation. Let's see how I have actually come up with the solution. So what I am doing over here is, if the value of k is 0, then I'm simply returning that we don't have to perform any number of operation. So this is the edge case. Apart from that, I'm just counting the number of negative elements, right? So that I can form how many, what's the actual size of the arrays look like, right? This is the another case if the value of k count is 0, which means you don't have a negative positive elements. In such scenario, it doesn't make any sense to actually like iterate or perform this particular operation, because you don't have any number of positive elements. And apart from that, if you see, this is the formula which I have discussed. If you divide it by 0, then it also give you a exception, right? So make sure to think about all the test cases, all the edge cases, sorry for that, so that you are actually going to understand, or you are actually able to pass the hidden test cases, right? They haven't mentioned any test case like that, but still you have to think by your own self, right? After that, I have just created a result array and storing all the positive elements in it. And after that, I have created one function which is called sort, where I am parsing result k and the size of the result. And what the function is doing over here is the same thing which I have told you, 3 steps which we need to actually reverse or to swap an array elements, right? So I'm calling it for the 0 to k minus 1 time, from k to n minus 1, from 0 to n minus 1, right? And what this function is doing, pretty straightforward. We are just reversing an elements, we are just swapping an elements from the position and just updating the value of the array, right? So this is the particular code, right? And after that, I'm just checking, I'm just replacing the elements, right? If it is greater than, then I'm just storing whatever is present at the result in a particular sequence, right? And after that, I'm just returning my nums because I have updated that particular value, right? So this is the piece of code, and I think it's pretty easy problem. It is also good. It is not that much difficult, but it also gives you a good understanding of how to actually think about edge cases, how to reduces the number of complexity or number of redundant work. This small thing can actually help you a lot. Apart from that, how to actually deal with some rotation, either it would be a left rotation or it would be a right rotation, right? So the small things can sometimes help you a lot, so don't ignore those things. These are really helpful. If you are a beginner, understand these concepts, that will actually help you in future, right? And talking about the time complexity, right? The time complexity, if we talked about, so it is going to be O of n for this loop, O of n for this loop, O of n for last one. And if we see, we have called this array, and it is running for only for the like O of n times, right? It is not running for the multiple times, so it is also O of n. So overall, the time complexity become O of n. Talking about the space complexity, so it is O of 1 if we are not considering this like this result where it is result array, because we are using it just for storing a result, right? So this is it about this particular problem, and I hope you understand both of the problem and both of the explanation for the videos for the problem. And I think these are really pretty good problem. If you want me to create like more videos of the today LeetCode contest, like talking about the third and the fourth problem, do let me know in the comment section. I'll happy to create all of that. But that are also really good problem and also easy problem for you to actually practice about some more really great concept in competitive programming and such LeetCode problems. So this is it for the video, and I hope you like the video. I hope you understand the concept. I hope you understand the intuition behind the problem, right? If you able to understand, do let me know in the comment section. Do like the video, do subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care.